different. It's not going to be typical मेरा CA वाला ज्ञान. People in general who want to write books, have stories, have ideas. Last year I started writing on LinkedIn and I'm about to reach मेरे 5,000 followers होने वाले हैं. When I finished the book, it had about 173 reads. So I don't know why I write age gaps, but I do write age gaps. I don't know why people report my books who are into writing and they're consistent about it. To come out, to write books, to write those stories which are guys, and welcome back to another video of mine. This video is going to be थोड़ा सा different. It's not going to be typical मेरा CA वाला ज्ञान and मेरा ये बताना कि आपको CA में कैसे पढ़ना है, आपको कॉलेज में कैसे पढ़ना है. I know कि you guys love that ज्ञान, but the thing is कि इस वीडियो में हम सिर्फ उस ज्ञान के बारे में बात नहीं करने वाले हैं. This video is going to be for people who love to write, people who want to write on LinkedIn, or people in general who want to write books, have stories, have ideas in their mind. Because CA finalist और SRCC graduate होने के अलावा भी मेरे पास बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. जैसे कि अभी लास्ट ईयर आई स्टार्टेड राइटिंग ऑन लिंक्डइन एंड आई एम अबाउट टू रीच मेरे 5,000 फॉलोअर्स होने वाले हैं वहाँ पर. एंड लिंक्डइन को हटा दो तो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट बुक्स, तो सिंस 2020 आई हैव बीन राइटिंग बुक्स ऑन वॉटपैड. इस वीडियो में आपको स्टार्टिंग में दिख गया होगा मेरे बुक्स और उनके रीड्स. एंड आई नो सम पीपल विल थिंक कि आई राइट फैन फिक्शंस, इसके लिए मेरे फॉलोअर्स हैं. तो यू थिंकिंग राइट, दैट वाज माई स्ट्रैटेजी बेसिकली. मैं एक कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट हूँ और मैं मार्केटिंग बहुत अच्छे से जानती हूँ और मुझे पता है कि किसको किस तरीके से अट्रैक्ट करना है. तो लेट्स विदाउट वेस्टिंग टाइम लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दिस वीडियो. सो बेसिकली मी एज अ राइटर, I write romance, I write dark romance, I write romantic comedies, I write drama with romance, I write thriller romance. So basically I revolve around romance. Now the question arises, why do I write only about romance and romance? Because I as a reader also love to read about romance books only. So it happened back in 2020 that my sister suggested me that I should start writing. I think I have told you guys about this in one of my older videos. But yeah, she suggested me that why not, you are so imaginative and creative. Actually me and her, both of us are like really into drawing, painting, sketching, and we were into reading since very long, since we were little. So what we used to do as kids was that we used to, there were some magazines which mama used to bring and in which you get stories about households, pati patni and all of that stuff. So we used to read that stuff and then we used to draw. Okay, I've been using used to a lot. Okay, then she suggested me that you should go and write on this particular, there's this app Wattpad. Now I have been using Wattpad again since 2020 when I was in class 12. And as I said कि मेरी school life was like मुझे बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं थी और मुझे स्कूल के बच्चे भी पसंद नहीं थे. तो that was an escape for me from reality and I started reading books. Now when I started reading books, there was this book app, AnyBooks, where you could read any book, any bestseller, that too for free. But then there was a time when this app started to charge some payment for reading books, and hence we shifted to Wattpad. When I came to Wattpad, I saw so many different kind of books and I was like, ooh, wow. And as I'm into romance and everything, so I started reading more of that stuff and I started liking it. And then when my sister asked me to write, I was like, wait, kyun karna? Then I should also publish one of my books and I should also start writing. And I decided that I have to write books and it's high time now. Then I decided to start writing. My first book was Lily Blooms. Now again, the question comes like, why did I pick such a title, Lily Blooms? I don't know. To be honest, I really don't know. So what happened is that during that time, I didn't have much idea about titles, about मतलब कि sorry, लाइटनिंग को क्या हो रहा है, सॉरी नहीं जगह पे फिक्स नहीं हो रही. Can you put some more lightning to it? Yeah, I can. Wait. Yeah, better lightning now. So what happened was कि I was like, मुझे Lily Blooms लिखना है. So I started writing this book, Lily Blooms. It's about Lily, and then there is this guy. I don't remember the name because I wrote 4 years back. It's so sad that a writer forgets the name of the characters, but yeah, I did really forget it. I do actually not remember what was the guy's name, but it was kinda enemies to lovers trope I followed, and it was okay. When I finished the book, it had about 173 reads. So, and during that time, I was also into BTS. I went into K-pop, and my cousin asked me to, see this particular video of Fake Love, and I started to watch BTS funny videos and all of that stuff. And then I saw that on Wattpad you also had an option of fan fictions. Now an amazing trick came into my mind that why not write my own stories but make the protagonist as a K-pop member. my purpose will be fulfilled, my book will be out there, and the readers are also going to come to my book, because at the end of the day they are getting to imagine themselves with their idol, and that worked out for me. So I wrote this book, Be My Lollipop, then I wrote about Be My Popsicle, and I also wrote Forget Me Not, Love Story, Gangster Baby, and I don't know, a lot many books. They are fan fictions, and I kept on writing and writing and writing. So then while I was writing fan fiction, I thought that why not also delve into this, because at one particular point of time you realize that if you're writing one kind of books, I was writing books, actually they were my books, I was writing novels, and they were rom-coms, they were dark romances, but there would be people who would later on question me and say that I write fan fictions. How can I say that I'm a writer when I write fan fictions? Actually, they are writers. If you're writing books which have 30 fucking chapters and they have like 60,000 words and it takes 7 hours to read one particular book, you are a writer. But just to not have that particular title on me ki this particular person is a fan fiction writer, I decided to explore more, and I wrote this book, My Dear. So My Dear is basically an arranged marriage, a story based on two characters, Viraj and Kanan, and they are having an arranged marriage, and how they start to love each other after, even if it was not a love marriage, and how their love grows. And it is not having any 18 plus content. That was the first time I wrote a book without 18 plus content, and it is really very hard for me but I wrote it and people loved it. When I finished the book, I didn't expect much a response, and I think it was just 5k 6k or something of that sort, but currently it's 80,000 reads. My Dear, my non-fan fiction book, it was 80,000 reads, and I'm so beyond grateful to my readers, to God, and to myself obviously for writing this book. And then I thought that I'm not gonna give up on fan fictions totally, because at the end of the day I also want to stay connected to my idols, and also in a way if I continue to write fan fictions, I'll have a different set of story going on there, and I'll also keep writing these desi stories which can cater to my Indian readers, and hence I'm writing two books side by side. So when My Dear I was writing, I was also writing Gangster Baby. Gangster Baby is again a Jeon Jung-kook fan fiction. And now when I'm writing Roop Ki Chandni, so it's all basically a one-sided love story about a boy who's madly in love with a woman who's 6 years older to him. I don't know why I write age gaps, but I do write age gaps. So Be My Lollipop was also an age gap story, and again this one is also an age gap story. Be My Popsicle was also an age gap story. I don't know why I am in this loop of writing age gap things, but yeah, I write age gap romance. So if you're into some kind of shit like age gap, and you like men older than you, or you like women older than you, then you should probably try my books, because I write about that. So along with Roop Ki Chandni, I decided that I'm gonna write another side by side of fan fiction, and yeah, I wrote a fan fiction. So Click Me Sir, I did just give 2 chapters to it, but yeah, I wrote that also. Now what did I achieve? After about talking about my books, I want to tell you that when I started there was nothing to be achieved. It's been 4 years since I'm writing, and I have achieved above 1 lakh reads on 2 of my books, and both of them are fan fictions. No, not lying, obviously they are fan fictions, that's why they got 1 lakh reads. But My Dear is not a fan fiction. It's soon going to be 1 lakh reads, and also it's not going to be taken down by Wattpad, because I have not written any 18 plus content for which they have taken 2 books down. Okay, that is like seriously, I don't know why people report my books. It's just because I write 18 plus content, but I think we are all mature enough to understand that there are people who write dark romance, and there are readers who actually love to read them. So I don't understand anyways why they keep on reporting such books, and they took 2 of my books down. That's really sad. But apart from that, what I achieved is a clarity of thought. When you are a writer, when you write things, I never thought about it so deeply because I never exposed it to my friends. They came to know eventually. Even I didn't tell them about my YouTube thing, and eventually I told them. They were like, oh, she does that. So my school friends, they don't know about my books. But then I decided this May-June, I fully promoted my book for 30 days straight, and then there were questions coming up to me asking, did you write that? Do you write that? What do you write? And I cannot explain. I'm just like, go to my Wattpad and read for yourself. But then there was this orientation course where I talked about me writing books, and at that particular point of time I realized that writing is such a powerful tool. There were actually people who were interested in me, who were interested in knowing what I write, interested in knowing how many books I have read, and maybe that's why they think that I have good English, because of the books I read. And obviously reading and writing helps. And then there was this particular teacher who came as a faculty, and he was so kind to me, and he was like, he gave me a dictionary because he knew that I was a writer. There were many people asking me to when am I not publishing it, and then there were a few of my juniors from SRCC and people who really want to come to SRCC were impressed by my writing. Then I decided, why not make a video in it? Why not guide people about people who actually have, because I had my sister to guide me, but I want other people who are into writing and they're consistent about it to come out, to write books, to write those stories which are going on in your head, to pen them down and create an impact. So my journey started in 2020. Since then I have achieved the number of reads I told you. 2 books with 1 lakh reads, 1 about to reach 1 lakh reads, and most of them above 50,000 reads, some above 5,000 reads. Reads is what matters to me, obviously, because I also want to know who are reading my books. Some writers would be there saying that they don't care about the reads, but I do actually care about reads. I do actually care about votes, and I do care about my followers as well on Wattpad. Well, that was what I am as a writer and how I have been writing. Now some tips for people who are gonna start it. So there are 2 options when you think of writing. First of all, you need to be clear in your head, what do you actually want to write? There are different forms of writing. For example, on LinkedIn, I write motivational things. I write my experiences. I write content which has some authenticity to it, something which people can relate with. It could be an incident of my life. It could be some learning I got from someone, and I tend to write that kind of content. So LinkedIn content is really short. So what kind of a writer you want to be? Do you want to be a content writer? Content writer means writing some short content, writing some blogs or that particular thing. Or do you want to be a poet, which is really very hard, or you want to be a full-time storyteller? Now stories again have 2 bifurcations. You want to write short stories or you want to write a novel. What I do is write novels. I'm not a short story kind of person, and I don't think I can ever write a short story, because as a person also I love to speak, and whenever I'm given a topic to talk about, I'm just so woke about it. I'll keep on speaking about it hour after hour, I mean minute after minute, and it gets so monotonous. I think I'm doing it here too. So coming to the point, काफ़ी हो गई इधर की बात. So first of all, you need to decide कि what kind of writing you want to go in. Whether you write short content or you want to have a novel kind of content. If you want to write a short content, I'll suggest you that you can start with your Instagram, because Instagram is a faster way to reach your audiences. And if you're writing on Instagram and you get attention there, then you could go to various apps. There are various apps available where you can write blogs, so you can write about it there, or LinkedIn also you can use for that particular purpose. But LinkedIn is mostly professional, that's why I won't suggest LinkedIn for that purpose. You can use Instagram for writing short content, because people definitely read short content over there, and it's basically famous for writing short content. If you want to write a novel, again you have 2 choices. The first choice is that you use apps like Wattpad, Inkit, or there is this StackMe or StuckMe, something of that sort. I'll provide you the correct name in the description thing. So you could write any of the 3 platforms to write a novel. Now writing a novel involves various things. First of all, you need to be having a plot in your mind. Now where does that plot comes from? That plot doesn't come from just anywhere, but it just comes from anywhere. It could be an idea, it could be something which has happened to you, it could be an incident, it could be just 2 people walking on the road and you get a plot in your head, or it could be some drama series you saw, or it could be a mix of various dramas, mix of various books, mix of various series. It could be anything. First of all, before writing, you must be clear in your head at what you are going to write, because it really happened with one of my books. I was writing, I had a completely different thing on my mind, and when I started writing, I wrote something else, and the book turned out to be like very bad. So you need to be very sure of what you're going to write, and you need to have this particular plot in mind, because without plot नहीं हो पाएगा. So plot is something which is very very important when you're writing. And for plot, see, you cannot have the entirely everything in your mind. You must know कि मेरे प्रोटैगनिस्ट कौन होंगे, मेरे कितने कैरेक्टर्स होंगे, मेरी स्टोरी किस पर्टिकुलर थीम के अराउंड बेस होगी. बिकॉज वेन एवर यू रीड अ बुक, after reading book, there are various things that comes to light. There are things you come to know about various themes. You know that this book talks about sisterhood, this book talks about relationships, it is talking about high school love. So you need to have these themes in your head also, that what are the themes which you're going to cover in your book. So there should be a plot and there should be a theme on which you're going to write. After deciding the plot, कि ये मेरा plot होगा, ये मेरा होगा, it's not something कि एक बार बन गया plot तो बन गया. No, you can change it as and when you feel like, but there should be some kind of consistency going on. So you need to make a छोटे pointers that ये scene होगा, ये scene होगा, ये scene होगा. Typically 30 to 40 scenes आपको लिख लेने हैं. जितना भी आपको लेंथ चाहिए अपने बुक का, अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू राइट कि इतने सीन्स मेरे बुक में होने चाहिए एंड ये पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट्स तो मुझे टचअप करने ही करने हैं. ये काम हो गया. नाउ कम्स बुक का टाइटल. क्या होगा बुक का टाइटल? अगेन इट्स योर चॉइस. आप बुक के नाम पे रख सकते हो, आप कुछ अलग सा रख सकते हो, आप बुक के थीम पे रख सकते हो, आप कुछ ऐसा भी रख सकते हो जो बिल्कुल भी अनरिलेटेड है, बिकॉज इट इज़ लाइक पीपल गेट क्यूरियस अगर आप ऐसा कुछ टॉपिक रखते हो. एंड सॉरी सॉरी बहुत लाइट हो गया. सो पीपल रियली गेट क्यूरियस इफ योर टाइटल इज समथिंग यूनिक एंड they're more into it's intriguing and people are gonna read it for sure. So that thing you need to keep in mind. Title हो गया, प्लॉट हो गया, पॉइंटर्स हो गए. प्लॉट मतलब ये नहीं कि आपको पूरी स्टोरी लिख लेनी है, ऑब्वियसली नॉट. आपको सारे पॉइंटर्स रेडी रखने की मेन स्टोरी में होना चाहिए. अब आता है क्वेश्चन कि मैं लिखूँ कैसे में आते हैं वेरियस स्टाइल्स ऑफ राइटिंग. अगर आप बुक रीडर हैं, to write a book you should be an avid book reader. If you're not a book reader then it's really going to be, I won't say impossible, but it's really going to be hard for you to write a book of your own because you don't have a style yet. And to know your style of writing you need to read various styles of writing and then you decide कि हाँ मेरा स्टाइल इसकी तरह हो सकता है, मेरा स्टाइल इसकी तरह हो सकता है. So when I started writing I didn't have anything in mind initially, but मैंने इतने बुक्स पढ़े थे तो I just wrote whatever I felt like. But when I read Khalid Hosseini's book and I realized though it is something, this style is something I'm attached to or attracted to, and I think that इस तरीके का मैं स्टाइल ट्राई करूँ. तो रूम की चांदनी में I have tried to have that particular style, खालिद हुसैनी सर का स्टाइल अपने बुक में. तो स्टाइल होना बहुत ज़रूरी है एंड स्टाइल तभी आएगा जब आप डिफरेंट बुक्स पढ़ोगे. तो उसके बारे में मेरा बताने का कोई फ़ायदा नहीं होगा until and unless you read books. You will automatically come to know that every author has their own style. कोई पास्ट प्रेजेंट करता है, कोई POV करता है, कोई मोर डिस्क्रिप्टिव है, कोई मोनोलॉग की तरह लिखता है, कोई डायलॉग्स पे फोकस करता है. सो दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन राइटर टू राइटर कि आप किस तरीके का लिखते हो. सो फॉर दैट यू नीड टू हैव read books and typically different genres की book. Genre is something that will automatically come to you because whatever you are interested in you're gonna write about that for sure. It's not like that you're gonna write something which you're not interested in. If I'm into romance I cannot go and start writing something fantasy or adventure. I'm not interested, so I won't write that obviously, no offense though. So ये हो गया. उसके बाद आता है बुक का कवर डिसाइड करना. आपने प्लॉट बना लिया, आप बुक का कवर भी बना सकते हो. कैनवा इज एन अमेजिंग ऐप. यू कैन गो एंड यूज कैनवा फॉर जनरेटिंग ब्यूटीफुल book covers and then you can start writing. Now start writing में होता है कि you have thoughts not only for novels but there are even for LinkedIn many people approach me asking how do I get that clarity and how do I write. तो there should be clarity in the sense कि अगर आपके मन में बहुत सारी चीज़ें चल रही हैं and you need to write all of that stuff but you don't know how to start. तो what you can do is take a piece of paper, start writing the pointers जो आपको कवर करने हैं. ठीक है, वो सारे pointers आप उस पर लिख दो. मुझे इस पर लिखना है, इस पर लिखना है, इस पर लिखना है, इस पर. ना जब आपने वो सारे pointers लिख दिए हैं, now go through them and arrange them in a sequence कि किस तरीके से वो ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा. I know it's gonna take time but obviously writing is something which is a time consuming process. But it will help you to think, it will help you to analyze, it will help you to use your brain, and at the end of the day you'll feel satisfied, you'll feel good about what content you wrote. And again ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि what you write ज़्यादा एफर्ट्स इन्वेस्ट करके उस पर रीच ना आए, उसको फेम ना मिले, वो पॉपुलर ना हो, वो वायरल ना जाए. एंड ऐसा हो सकता है जो आपने जनरली लिख दिया वो वायरल हो जाए. तो अगेन वायरल होना ना होना इज़ नॉट अ क्राइटेरिया अबाउट हाउ गुड योर कॉन्टेंट इज़. What you need to focus on is what you are writing, what you are presenting to other, how are you expressing it. That is what matters. Even if it's a novel, if it's a poem, or if it's anything else, it should have a meaning to it. It should have something with which people can relate. आप 10-20 lines ऐसे नहीं लिख सकते. You need to be clear in your head and then only you can write. तो it's basically but that thing. इसके अलावा कोई query I don't think मेरे पास इतनी आई है बुक से related. प्लॉट बता दिया कैसे लिखना है, बुक कवर वगैरह हो गया, थीम हो गई, और उसके बाद आता है ओपनिंग. हाँ, बुक की ओपनिंग कैसे करें. तो बुक की ओपनिंग इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज बुक की ओपनिंग इज समथिंग विच इज़ द रीडर इज़ गोइंग टू रीड फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. एंड ऑफन बुक के बैक्स पर एक छोटा सा डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखा होता है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ विच यू डिसाइड वेदर यू हैव टू रीड दिस बुक और यू विल पास इट. सो बुक की ओपनिंग शुड बी समथिंग व्हेन यू रीड अ बुक. एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ओपनिंग्स डू यू लुक फॉर. यू हैव टू राइट एन ओपनिंग which can excite you to read the book. अभी समझे, आप राइटर भी हो और आप रीडर भी हो. आप ऐसा नहीं कि आपने लिख के छोड़ दिया. नो, आफ्टर राइटिंग यू नीड टू रीड इट ऑल ओवर अगेन एंड यू नीड टू थिंक कि अच्छा लिखा भी है. मतलब क्या मैं एज अ रीडर ऐसे राइटर को पढ़ूंगा या पढ़ूंगी. तो दैट क्वेश्चन शुड ऑल्सो कम इन योर माइंड एंड दैट इज़ व्हेन यू क्रॉस चेक, दैट इज़ व्हेन यू रीएनालाइज एंड दैट इज़ व्हेन यू रिकन्सिडर द थिंग्स, यू मेक द चेंजेस, यू मेक द एडिट्स एंड देन यू कैन पुट द content in front of people. So that was some basic points about writing. things that you should be aware of, things which are important and you should take care of, is you should never ever copy someone's content, someone's storyline, someone's plot. Taking idea is a different thing, but copying someone's work entirely is very, very wrong. Books will be taken down, content will be taken down, you will be reported, you will be muted, everything bad will happen to you if you dare copy someone else's work, because at the end of the day वो उस इंसान की मेहनत है, आपकी नहीं. Generate something of your own, content आएगा, अपने आप आएगा. Start writing, start reading, and you're gonna make it. But yes, before being a writer, you need to be a reader. That was entirely about me and my Wattpad and me as a writer. And talking about time, कैसे मिलता है लिखने का, तो टाइम तो नहीं मिलता लिखने का. One book on an average takes 8 to 10 months to complete, and sometimes an year to complete. Why? Because you lack time. You need to find out time for things which are important to you. And इसलिए when I decide that it's been some time, it's been 2 weeks since I wrote a chapter, I'm like, no, I force myself to write. Because if you don't write something continuously, I think you lose touch of that. And I'm really thankful to LinkedIn and LinkedIn content, because either ways, I cannot write a chapter on LinkedIn, but I'll stay in the habit of writing if I'm writing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn content also, if you want some tips and all, you can all go through my LinkedIn account. You can see how I have built it, and I was also said by a few people that it's quite impressive. Do share me your reviews. How do you like my LinkedIn account, my LinkedIn profile? You can also check my Wattpad books. I'll be providing the links to it in the description box. And if you have any queries about Wattpad, about writing books, about writing LinkedIn content, I'm up for any kind of queries and doubts. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe on my video. And next time I'll try to make something more informative. Bye bye.